Thank you all for gathering for this unprecedented meeting today. I'll cut straight to the chase. The situation in the Atlantic is escalating rapidly. What started as a tropical disturbance is now on the verge of becoming something catastrophic. Hurricane Stella has evolved into what we believe is a hypercane. It's expected to exceed all hurricane records, before it even reaches landfall. My fellow meteorologist Thomas Willow will tell you more.
Thank you, Ken. We're expecting winds sustained at 450 miles per hour, with gusts reaching up to 500 miles per hour. The central pressure is expected to drop to an unprecedented 680 millibars. The storm is moving at 50 miles per hour, which gives us very little time to prepare. Our models predict landfall in Georgia within 20 hours. But Stella won't stop there. It's projected to travel across the entire United States over the next 2 days and 7 hours, affecting everything in its path.
450 miles per hour winds. Even the strongest buildings aren't designed to withstand that. What can we expect in terms of storm surge and rainfall?
We expect storm surges of up to 40 feet along the coast, enough to submerge cities. Rainfall could exceed 50 inches, and inland flooding will be catastrophic. The entire eastern seaboard is in immediate danger, but the storm is wide enough to impact the Midwest within hours of its landfall.
This goes beyond a weather disaster. We're looking at complete infrastructure collapse. Roads, bridges, power grids, even nuclear plants, all of it will be at risk.
Yes, and there's also a high chance of secondary disasters. If the storm hits industrial or nuclear facilities, we could face meltdowns or hazardous chemical releases. Stella will likely spawn countless tornadoes, and if it reaches northern states, the pressure changes could even trigger blizzards and landslides.
We need to activate all emergency systems now. Get warnings out to the entire country, not just the southeast. Evacuations must begin immediately, though many areas may not have enough time.
What about civil unrest? We've seen rioting in past disasters, and this scale of devastation will undoubtedly lead to panic. Are local authorities prepared?
They need to be briefed immediately. This isn't a regional emergency, it's a national catastrophe in the making. If people don't take this seriously, we'll have chaos in the streets before the storm even hits.
I'll brief the president right after this meeting. We need a national emergency declaration within the hour. This will require a response on a scale we've never dealt with before. Only time will tell, though, if it will be enough.
The following is a CNN special report.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. We begin today's broadcast with an update from the National Weather Service and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. They're reporting that conditions are currently favorable for the development of a tropical system in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, let us be clear, this is not a cause for concern at this time. These kinds of favorable conditions occur quite regularly, often hundreds of times a year, and in most cases, they do not lead to anything significant. There is no immediate threat, and there's no need for alarm. However, we do want to keep our viewers informed. We should note that some meteorologists have mentioned slightly elevated sea surface temperatures in parts of the Caribbean, which could contribute to storm formation. But again, this is fairly routine. It's simply something they're keeping an eye on. We'll continue monitoring the situation and provide updates as necessary. In the meantime, the best thing you can do is stay tuned, remain vigilant, and enjoy your day. Now, let's turn it over to Jerry for the latest news and sports. Jerry.
This is an emergency action notification requested by the White House. All the EAS participants will follow activation procedures in the EAS operating handbook for a national-level emergency. The President of the United States, or one of his representatives, will shortly deliver a message over the emergency alert system. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by. We interrupt our regular programming. This is a national emergency. Important details will follow. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is KSNT. We will continue to serve the Topeka metropolitan area. If you are not in this local area, tune now into stations providing news and information for your area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Topeka area. Do not use the telephone. The telephone lines should be kept open for emergency use only. The emergency alert system has been activated. We interrupt our regular programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. Programming has been discontinued indefinitely during this emergency. This is KSNT. We will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Topeka area. If you are not in the Topeka area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your area. It is important that you listen carefully to announcements from the station in your local area. Stand by. The President of the United States, or his designated representative, will be speaking shortly. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by.
The following message has been authorized for public release by myself, the National Weather Service, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the United States government, effective as of 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. A rare and catastrophic weather phenomenon, now identified as Hurricane Stella, has formed in the Atlantic Ocean and is expected to impact the entire United States. The United States Geological Survey detected the sudden formation of this hurricane, an unprecedented and extreme atmospheric event. This has developed due to a combination of abnormally warm ocean temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit and recent tectonic activity along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which has rapidly intensified this system into a storm of unimaginable strength. As of the latest observation, the central pressure of Hurricane Stella has plunged to a staggering 680 millibars, with sustained winds exceeding 450 miles per hour. This is unlike any storm we have ever encountered. Wind speeds that will turn debris into lethal projectiles, waves capable of submerging entire cities, and storm surges projected to reach up to 150 feet, along some coastal areas. The storm is currently moving northwest at 50 miles per hour and is expected to make landfall along the Georgia coastline in approximately 12 hours. Once Hypercane Stella makes landfall, it will carve a path of devastation across the southeastern United States, with its effects stretching into the Midwest, and eventually even reaching the West Coast. The storm will bring catastrophic winds, torrential rain, and unprecedented flooding. Atmospheric instability could spawn multiple tornadoes, including those of the F5 intensity, capable of total destruction. I know many of you are frightened. The weight of uncertainty feels overwhelming. But please, listen carefully. We are facing an event unlike anything we've ever seen, and we must all work together to protect our lives and our nation. Residents in the following states are urged to take immediate action to protect themselves and their property: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and California. This is no ordinary storm. Structures, including reinforced buildings, will be at extreme risk. The storm surge along coastal regions is expected to be catastrophic, with waves capable of overtopping barriers and rushing several miles inland. Rainfall totals could exceed 60 inches in some areas, triggering widespread flash flooding, and rivers may overflow at unprecedented levels. In response to this national emergency, the President of the United States has declared a state of national emergency. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has been activated at the highest level and is coordinating with state and local governments to initiate mass evacuations for all regions in the projected path of Hypercane Stella. The following actions are being taken. Mandatory evacuations are in effect for all coastal areas of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. These evacuation orders will expand to inland areas and additional states as the storm's path becomes clearer. The National Guard has been deployed to assist with evacuation efforts, secure critical infrastructure, and provide medical support. Additional units are being mobilized across the Midwest and West Coast. Military bases nationwide are preparing to serve as emergency shelters and logistical hubs for displaced residents and first responders. Evacuation routes have been established. Residents are urged to leave immediately, without delay, as roads and highways may soon become impassable due to flooding or storm surges. The U.S. military is on standby to assist with search and rescue operations, transportation of supplies, and mass evacuations as needed. Do not delay. Evacuations are mandatory in many areas, and for those in coastal regions, you must leave now. If evacuation is impossible, seek reinforced shelter immediately, preferably underground. Stock up on essential supplies, including food, water, and medical necessities, as power outages and disruptions are expected to last for weeks, possibly months. Secure all loose outdoor objects and reinforce windows and doors where possible. For those in non-coastal areas, prepare for hurricane-force winds, flooding, and tornado outbreaks. Follow the instructions from local emergency management and stay tuned to official broadcasts for updates. I cannot stress enough. This is a life-threatening situation. Hypercane Stella is unlike anything we have ever faced. Your safety, the safety of your family, and the future of our communities depend on swift action. We will continue to provide updates as more information becomes available. I know the situation is frightening, but I ask you, do not panic. Prepare, act, and support one another. We will weather this storm together, and we will come out the other side. Stay strong, stay safe, and may God bless us all. This is the President of the United States, signing off. Thank you, and God bless America.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States National Guard and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Mass rioting, looting, and civil unrest have been reported in several major cities across the U.S. These cities include Los Angeles, New York City, Houston, Chicago, Philadelphia, and many more. People that are participating in these riots are causing massive damage to property, injuries, fatalities, and even fires. It has also been reported that rioters have been seen carrying weapons and other tactical equipment. The cause of these riots is believed to be panic surrounding the oncoming Hurricane Stella. Police officers and National Guard troops have arrived at the scene and are currently dealing with the situation. As a precaution, all residents receiving this broadcast are strongly advised to remain indoors with all windows and doors locked. Do not approach these rioters, as they are armed and extremely dangerous. If a rioter manages to break into your home, use armed protection by all means. This includes lethal force. Do not participate in the riots. I repeat, do not participate in the riots. If you do so, you will be arrested, and you can face serious criminal charges. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. I come before you tonight with a grave message. Our nation is facing an unprecedented and historic event. It is not a terrorist attack, nor is it man-made. This is a natural catastrophe of extraordinary magnitude, an event that defies anything we have ever experienced. We are on the brink of facing a hypercane, a storm so powerful and destructive that it dwarfs any hurricane in our recorded history. Hurricane Stella has formed in the Atlantic, fueled by record-high ocean temperatures and tectonic activity. This storm will bring devastating winds, deadly storm surges, torrential rain, and catastrophic flooding. Its force is unimaginable. In the days ahead, it will leave a trail of destruction across the United States, spawning tornadoes, blizzards, landslides, and flooding on a scale never before seen. I understand the emotions many of you are feeling right now: fear, anger, uncertainty. This is a time of unprecedented challenge, but it is also a time for decisive action and unity. In moments like these, we must come together as one nation. We cannot allow our fear to dictate our choices. Instead, we must meet this moment with strength, resilience, and compassion for one another. At this very moment, the full resources of the federal government and our military are being deployed to assist with evacuations and storm preparations. The National Guard, FEMA, and emergency responders are mobilized across the country to safeguard lives and protect critical infrastructure. To those in the path of this storm, especially our fellow citizens in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, who will feel its first, most brutal impact, we are with you. Evacuation orders are in place, and I urge you, follow the instructions of local officials. Your safety is our top priority. If you cannot evacuate, seek shelter immediately in reinforced structures, preferably underground, and stock up on essential supplies. This storm will take 2 days and 7 hours to traverse the country. It will be brutal, and it will test us all. But let me be clear, we will endure. Together, we will weather this storm, and once it passes, we will begin the long process of rebuilding homes, communities, and lives. The American spirit is strong, and when we stand united, not even the fury of Mother Nature can break us. In the face of this unprecedented crisis, let us help one another. Check on your neighbors, protect your families, and offer support to those in need. Only together can we overcome this storm's wrath, and only together can we rebuild stronger than ever. As we confront this immense challenge, I ask each of you to remain vigilant, stay informed, and most importantly, hold on to hope. The days ahead will be difficult, but we will survive. We will come through this scarred, but not broken. Thank you, and may God bless you, your families, and the United States of America.
The National Weather Service in Charleston has issued a flash flood warning for, in Georgia, Burke County, Chatham County, Columbia County, Effingham County, Elbert County, Emmanuel County, Jefferson County, Jenkins County, Lincoln County, McDuffie County, Richmond County, Screven County, in South Carolina, Aiken County, Allendale County, Barnwell County, Beaufort County, Edgefield County, Hampton County, Jasper County, and McCormick County until 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At approximately 4:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Doppler radar indicated Hurricane Stella producing heavy rain across the Warren area and in the Savannah River. Up to 6 inches of rain have already fallen. In addition, rainfall is likely for the rest of the day. The expected rainfall rate is currently 3 inches per hour. Flash flooding is currently ongoing within the Warren area. Hazard, heavy flash flooding. Source, radar indicated. Impact, flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, rivers, and other poor drainage or low-lying areas. Locations impacted include Aiken, Allendale, Appling, Augusta, Barnwell, Beaufort, Edgefield, Alberton, Hampton, Lincolnton, Louisville, McCormick, Millen, Ridgeland, Savannah, Springfield, Sylvania, Swainsboro, Thompson, and Waynesboro. A flash flood warning means that flash flooding is imminent or occurring. If you are in the Warren area, move to higher ground immediately. Residents living along streams and creeks should take immediate precautions to protect your life and property. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area that has been subject to flash flooding. Most deaths during flash flooding occur within vehicles. If you come to a closed-off or flooded road, turn around, don't drown. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
Nuclear power plant warning. Nuclear power plant warning. This is not a drill. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Georgia Emergency Management Agency and the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. At this time, a general emergency is in progress. A general nuclear emergency is declared when an incident occurs regarding radioactive or radiological material or particles that is imposing a threat to life and property. As a result, the nuclear cataclysm sirens have been sounded to alert the public of the current emergency. At approximately 4:58 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, flash flooding produced by Hurricane Stella has breached the reactors. This has resulted in the meltdown of all the reactors. Contingency plans have been enacted, but all attempts to stop the meltdown have failed. Due to this, the Georgia Emergency Management Agency has declared a state of emergency for all areas within 100 miles of the Vogtle-Hatch nuclear power plants. All residents in this radius are required to evacuate the area immediately. Grab essential supplies including non-perishable food, water, clothes, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone, phone chargers, toiletries, important documents, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last you and your family the duration of this emergency. Do not return home for at least 14 days after the explosion. It is expected that the reactors will explode within the next 30 minutes to an hour. When this happens, major fallout and radiation contamination will occur within the area. Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear attacks and explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout can lead to radiation sickness and death if not treated properly. Fallout can spread for miles beyond the initial destination site. It only takes a minute after the initial explosion for the effects of fallout to spread. Fallout can also cause diseases like cancer and organ failure, as well as birth defects such as stillbirth. Do not return home until at least 14 days after the explosion, and even then, wait until the proper authorities give you the all-clear to return. If you cannot evacuate the area on your own, tie a white towel or a cloth to a visible location, such as a door or mailbox, and the National Guard will evacuate you. Do not pick up relatives from schools, hospitals, or nursing homes. These facilities have their own evacuation procedures and will act on them accordingly. Do not delay. This is a life or death situation. Evacuate now. I repeat, evacuate now. Please tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation.
This is an update on the current conditions and impacts of Hurricane Stella as it moves further inland across the Middle South region. The hurricane continues to bring catastrophic winds, widespread flooding, and severe weather conditions. Residents in the path of the storm are urged to remain indoors and take immediate precautions. As of 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Hurricane Stella is now impacting Mississippi and surrounding areas, including Jackson and Vicksburg, with sustained winds of 450 miles per hour and gusts up to 500 miles per hour. The Grand Gulf nuclear plant in Port Gibson is experiencing significant cooling issues due to widespread flooding along the Mississippi River. Power loss and mechanical failures are being reported, and plant operators are taking emergency measures to stabilize the reactor. There is potential for a nuclear emergency if the situation worsens. Residents near the Grand Gulf area should monitor updates from local authorities and prepare for possible evacuation orders. Key updates: wind speeds remain catastrophic across central Mississippi. Flooding along the Mississippi River is increasing, with water levels critical near Jackson and Vicksburg. Tornadoes spawned by the hurricane have been confirmed in several counties. Residents should follow all local evacuation orders and emergency guidelines. Stay indoors, away from windows, and prepare for prolonged power outages. Stay tuned for further update. The National Weather Service in Jackson has issued a flash flood warning for Claiborne, Hines, Issaquah, Madison, Sharkey, Warren, and Yazoo, until 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At approximately 12:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the Warren area. Up to 8 inches of rain have already fallen. In addition, rainfall is likely for the next 12 hours. The expected rainfall rate is currently 3 inches per hour. Flash flooding is currently ongoing within the Warren area. Hazard: heavy flash flooding. Source: radar indicated. Impact: flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, rivers, and other poor drainage or low-lying areas. Locations impacted include Port Gibson, Jackson, Mayersville, Canton, Rolling Fork, Vicksburg, Yazoo City. A flash flood warning means that flash flooding is imminent or occurring. If you are in the Warren area, move to higher ground immediately. Residents living along streams and creeks should take immediate precautions to protect your life and property. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area that has been subject to flash flooding. Most deaths during flash flooding occur within vehicles. If you come to a closed-off or flooded road, turn around, don't drown. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We come to you with a developing and urgent situation as devastating floods continue to wreak havoc across multiple states. The Arkansas River is nearing a critical point, with severe flooding now impacting communities along its banks. Officials are warning that the river's rapid rise is threatening homes, infrastructure, and power facilities throughout the region. Emergency services are working around the clock to rescue trapped residents and fortify flood defenses. In addition to the flooding crisis, we are receiving updates from the Grand Gulf nuclear plant in Mississippi. After facing critical cooling issues earlier today, we are relieved to report that disaster has been averted. Emergency crews have managed to stabilize the plant, preventing what could have been a catastrophic nuclear incident. Authorities confirm that no radiation has been released, and the situation is now under control. This success comes as a beacon of hope amidst the devastation. For those in Little Rock, another threat looms. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado watch for the area as severe thunderstorms associated with Hurricane Stella approach. The potential for tornadoes is high, and residents are urged to remain alert and prepare to seek shelter at a moment's notice. The storm system is unpredictable, and conditions could change rapidly. As the situation continues to evolve, authorities are urging everyone to stay informed, follow evacuation orders, and avoid driving through flooded areas. Emergency shelters have been set up across the affected regions, and additional National Guard units have been deployed to assist in rescue and recovery operations. This is a developing story, and we will provide more updates as soon as they become available. Stay safe, stay alert, and follow local emergency guidance. For now, back to the studio.
The National Weather Service in Little Rock has issued a tornado warning for Faulkner County, Jefferson County, Lonoke County, Perry County, Pulaski County, and Saline County until 4:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. At approximately 3:13 p.m. Central Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 15 miles from Little Rock, moving west at 40 miles per hour. Hazard: tornado and golf ball-sized hail. Source: Doppler indicated rotation. Impact: flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Locations impacted include Benton, Conway, Little Rock, Lonoke, Perryville, Pine Bluff. Take cover now. Move into an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If in a mobile home, a vehicle, or outdoors, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
Nuclear power plant warning. Nuclear power plant warning. This is not a drill. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Arkansas Emergency Management Agency and the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. At this time, a general emergency is in progress. A general nuclear emergency is declared when an incident occurs regarding radioactive or radiological material or particles that is imposing a threat to life and property. As a result, the nuclear cataclysm sirens have been sounded to alert the public of the current emergency. At approximately 4:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time, fluid water has breached the reactor core. This has resulted in the meltdown of all the reactors. Contingency plans have been enacted, but all attempts to stop the meltdown have failed. Due to this, the Arkansas Emergency Management Agency has declared a state of emergency for all areas within 100 miles of the Arkansas 1 nuclear power plant. All residents in this radius are required to evacuate the area immediately. Grab essential supplies including non-perishable food, water, clothes, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone, phone chargers, toiletries, important documents, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last you and your family the duration of this emergency. Do not return home for at least 14 days after the explosion. It is expected that the reactors will explode within the next 30 minutes to an hour. When this happens, major fallout and radiation contamination will occur within the area. Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear attacks and explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout can lead to radiation sickness and death, if not treated properly. Fallout can spread for miles beyond the initial destination site. It only takes a minute after the initial explosion for the effects of fallout to spread. Fallout can also cause diseases like cancer and organ failure, as well as birth defects, such as stillbirth. Do not return home until at least 14 days after the explosion, and even then, wait until the proper authorities give you the all-clear to return. If you cannot evacuate the area on your own, tie a white towel or a cloth to a visible location, such as a door or mailbox, and the National Guard will evacuate you. Do not pick up relatives from schools, hospitals, or nursing homes. These facilities have their own evacuation procedures and will act on them accordingly. Do not delay. This is a life or death situation. Evacuate now. I repeat, evacuate now. Please tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation.
The National Weather Service in Wichita has issued Tornado Watch number 452, effective until 1 o'clock a.m. Central Daylight Time. This watch includes the following counties: Butler, Chase, Chautauqua, Cowley, Elk, Greenwood, Harper, Harvey, Kingman, Marion, McPherson, Reno, Sedgwick, and Sumner. Remember, a tornado watch means that conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, local media outlets, and internet sources for more updates on this developing situation. Tornado emergency for Wichita, Kansas. This is a potential mass casualty situation. The National Weather Service in Wichita has issued a tornado warning for Cayman County in central Kansas, Reno County in central Kansas, and Sedgwick County in central Kansas. At 7:28 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a large and extremely destructive tornado was located 15 miles east of Wichita. This is a tornado emergency for the Wichita Metroplex. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Take cover now. Hazard, deadly tornado, source, law enforcement and the public confirmed large wedge tornado with reports of catastrophic damage and fatalities in Butler County and El Dorado, impact. This is a life-threatening situation. You could be killed if not underground or in a tornado shelter. Flying debris will be deadly to those caught without shelter. Homes and businesses will be completely swept from their foundations. Trees will be uprooted or snapped, debris will block most roadways. Complete destruction of entire neighborhoods is likely, making the area unrecognizable to survivors. Locations impacted include Hutchinson, Cayman and Wichita. To repeat, a large, extremely violent, and deadly tornado is on the ground to protect your life. Take cover now. Move immediately to a basement or an underground storm shelter. If no underground shelter is available, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from windows, or, if time allows, consider moving to an underground shelter elsewhere. Mobile homes and outbuildings will offer no protection from this violent tornado. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 8:00 p.m. Central Daylight Time for the following counties: Kingman, Reno and Sedgwick. Blizzard warning in effect from midnight to 12:00 p.m. Central Daylight Time. The National Weather Service in Minneapolis has issued a blizzard warning, effective from midnight to 12:00 p.m. Central Daylight Time tomorrow. This extreme weather event is a result of secondary disturbances triggered by the hurricane's unprecedented impact across the region. This warning affects Minneapolis and surrounding areas. Snow and blowing snow will create hazardous conditions throughout the warning period. Overnight, up to 5 inches of snow is forecast to accumulate, with the heaviest snow expected tomorrow morning between 8:00 a.m. and 11:00 a.m. Central Daylight Time. An additional 7 to 9 inches of snow is likely, resulting in total accumulations of 12 to 14 inches. Strong winds from the remnants of the hurricane, blowing from the south at 45 to 65 miles per hour, with gusts up to 75 miles per hour, are anticipated. Temperatures will drop into the lower teens, and visibility may be reduced to 1/4 mile or less. The heaviest snow and strongest winds are expected later tonight, making travel conditions extremely dangerous. Wind chills between 5 degrees below zero and 5 degrees above zero will exacerbate the cold impacts. This blizzard will be particularly dangerous due to the compounding effects of flooding and infrastructure damage from Hurricane Stella. Blowing and drifting snow will produce whiteout conditions, making travel hazardous and nearly impossible. A blizzard warning means severe winter weather is occurring or imminent. Falling and blowing snow combined with strong winds will lead to life-threatening travel conditions. Do not travel. If you must travel, ensure you have a winter survival kit with you. If you become stranded, stay with your vehicle. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, local media outlets, and internet sources for updates on this dangerous situation. The National Weather Service in Amarillo has issued a tornado warning for Oldham County in northern Texas, and Potter County in northern Texas, until 2:45 a.m. Central Daylight Time. At approximately 1:58 a.m. Central Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 20 miles east of Amarillo, moving west at 25 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado and quarter-sized hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Locations impacted include Amarillo and Vega. Take cover now. Move into an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If in a mobile home, a vehicle, or outdoors, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation. The National Weather Service in Albuquerque has issued a flash flood warning for Bernalillo, Sandoval, Socorro, and Valencia until midnight Mountain Daylight Time. At approximately 5:56 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Up to 4 inches of rain have already fallen. In addition, rainfall is likely throughout this afternoon and evening. The expected rainfall rate is currently 4 inches per hour. Flash flooding is currently ongoing within the warned area. Hazard, heavy flash flooding. Source, radar indicated. Impact, flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, rivers, and other poor drainage or low-lying areas. Locations impacted include Albuquerque, Bernalillo, Socorro, and Los Lunas. A flash flood warning means that flash flooding is imminent or occurring. If you are in the warned area, move to higher ground immediately. Residents living along streams and creeks should take immediate precautions to protect your life and property. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area that has been subject to flash flooding. Most deaths during flash flooding occur within vehicles. If you come to a closed-off or flooded road, turn around. Don't drown. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
Civil danger warning for all residents within Albuquerque and surrounding areas. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Albuquerque Police Department. All residents currently in Albuquerque and surrounding areas, seek shelter immediately. I repeat, seek shelter immediately. At approximately 7:27 a.m., the Sandia Mountains showed signs of a potential landslide. Due to the severity of this situation, all residents within 15 miles of Albuquerque are strongly advised to seek shelter immediately in an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, and also to stay away from windows, doors and outside walls. Gather essential supplies for your shelter, including non-perishable food, water, clothes, medical supplies, a first aid kit, a flashlight, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last the duration of this emergency. Do not go outside, as you may be in the path of the landslide. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation, and as a result, should be taken extremely seriously. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
Good morning. This is a special update on the current situation with Hurricane Stella. The storm, which has brought unprecedented devastation to much of the country, is now nearing the end of its path through the United States. Meteorologists are reporting that the hurricane's eye has moved farther west and is now tracking towards the Pacific, with its outer bands dissipating. However, as the storm begins to move out, serious flooding issues remain. The Colorado River, which has seen a significant rise in water levels due to the intense rainfall, is now flooding in multiple areas. This includes portions of Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California. The National Weather Service has issued flood warnings for low-lying areas near the riverbanks. Residents in affected areas should remain on high alert. Evacuations are recommended for those living near the Colorado River, and officials are urging people to avoid any unnecessary travel due to dangerous road conditions. Floodwaters are expected to peak within the next 24 hours, and the threat of further landslides, especially in mountainous areas, remains a serious concern. As Hurricane Stella makes its way out of the country, we urge everyone to stay informed and continue following the guidance of local authorities. Please stay tuned to local news outlets and weather stations for the latest updates.
The National Weather Service in Sacramento has issued a flash flood warning for Sacramento, Yolo, Solano, and Sutter counties until 4:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. At approximately 10:54 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the Warren area. Up to 4 inches of rain have already fallen. In addition, rainfall is likely to continue throughout the afternoon. The expected rainfall rate is currently 1.5 inches per hour. Flash flooding is currently ongoing within the Warren area. Hazard: heavy flash flooding. Source: radar indicated. Impact: flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, rivers, and other poor drainage or low-lying areas. Locations impacted include Sacramento, West Sacramento, Woodland, Davis, and Rio Vista. A flash flood warning means that flash flooding is imminent or occurring. If you are in the Warren area, move to higher ground immediately. Residents living along streams and creeks should take immediate precautions to protect life and property. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area that has been subject to flash flooding. Most deaths during flash flooding occur within vehicles. If you come to a closed or flooded road, turn around, don't drown. Tune into local media outlets and internet sources for more updates on this dangerous situation.
This is a special news report from Savannah, Georgia. After 2 days, and 7 hours of relentless devastation, Hurricane Stella has finally moved out of the country. Power outages continue to cripple large portions of the southeast, and as a result, there is no video feed available. We are bringing you this live report via radio. Hurricane Stella, the most powerful storm in recorded history, has left unimaginable destruction in its wake. With sustained winds of 450 miles per hour and gusts up to 500 miles per hour, Stella is now officially the most violent storm system to ever strike the United States. Its central pressure of 680 millibars shattered every known record. Savannah, where the hypercane first made landfall, has been reduced to a scene of utter ruin. Joining us live is Daniel Lewis, a lifelong Savannah resident, who has just emerged from the wreckage of his home. Daniel, thank you for speaking with us. Can you describe what Savannah looks like right now?
It's unrecognizable. I mean, there's nothing left. Streets are rivers. Houses that have stood here for generations gone. The entire riverfront is submerged. Trees, cars, streetlights, it's all underwater or scattered like matchsticks. I've never seen anything like this. It's like a war zone.
We've received reports that entire neighborhoods have been wiped off the map. The flooding from the Savannah River has worsened since Stella passed. How are people coping?
There's a lot of disbelief. People are walking around in shock. We've lost homes, and some people have lost everything. I've seen folks just staring at what used to be their house, not saying a word. But at the same time, there's a real sense of community here. We're coming together, helping each other dig through the wreckage. I saw neighbors pulling each other out of flooded cars, sharing food and water. We're all trying to survive, but it's hard.
The winds during the storm were historic, but the aftermath seems to be equally overwhelming. Can you tell us more about how Savannah is handling the floodwaters?
The flooding is bad. I've never seen the river rise like this. It swallowed everything along the waterfront. Buildings are underwater, some of them barely visible. The streets are impassable. You can't drive anywhere. It's just too dangerous. People are stuck, and even rescue crews are having trouble getting in. The whole city feels like it's drowning.
With so much destruction, how are people responding emotionally? What's the mood in the city right now?
Honestly, people are devastated. There's a lot of fear. We don't know what's coming next, and we've never dealt with something like this. It's hard to stay hopeful when everything you've known is gone. But people are trying to hold on to that. We're Savannah strong. But right now, it's just hard to see a way forward. Everything feels broken.
As Daniel Lewis just described, Savannah has been decimated. The combination of 500 miles per hour wind gusts and massive storm surge left entire sections of the city underwater, with countless homes and buildings destroyed. Roads remain impassable due to debris and flood waters, making rescue efforts difficult. The iconic Savannah River, swollen beyond recognition, continues to flood vast parts of the city. Hypercane Stella's destruction was swift and brutal. No storm in history, not even the deadliest hurricanes, compares to this. What took 2 days and 7 hours to tear across the United States will take years, if not decades, to fully recover from. Savannah was the first to be hit, and it has suffered beyond comprehension. Homes flattened, entire neighborhoods washed away, and lives left shattered. Officials are urging all residents to stay indoors and off the roads. Rescue crews are stretched thin as they attempt to reach those stranded in flooded areas. Emergency shelters remain open, but capacity is limited due to the scale of displacement. Stella may have finally passed, but the scars left on Savannah and other cities along its path will be felt for generations.
My fellow Americans, we come together tonight in the wake of the most devastating storm our nation has ever faced. Hypercane Stella, a storm that eclipsed every natural disaster recorded in human history, has finally moved beyond our borders. But what remains is a scar that stretches across our nation, homes destroyed, lives lost, and cities forever changed. For 2 days and 7 hours, Stella tore through the heart of our country, leaving behind a path of unparalleled destruction. It began in Savannah, Georgia, and from there, the storm swept across state after state, overwhelming our infrastructure, devastating communities, and flooding our rivers. with winds reaching 450 miles per hour and gusts surpassing 500 miles per hour. The power of this storm was something we've never seen before. We've lost too many of our fellow citizens to this disaster. Families have been torn apart. Homes that stood for generations are now gone. Entire towns, like those in Louisiana, Texas, and Arizona, have been left in ruin. And even now, we face the challenge of recovering from unprecedented flooding along the Colorado River and the Sacramento River, which continues to threaten those communities. But as I stand here before you tonight, I want to make one thing absolutely clear. We will rebuild. The American people have shown time and time again that our spirit is unbreakable. This is no different. Together, we will recover, and we will emerge stronger than ever before. In the coming days, my administration will work closely with state and local leaders to ensure that emergency response teams continue to reach those in need. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has already mobilized the largest response effort in our nation's history, but the scale of this disaster requires even more action. I have authorized an additional $200 billion in federal aid to support recovery efforts across all affected states. We will rebuild homes, restore power, and reopen the roads and highways that were devastated by this storm. To those of you who have been displaced by Stella's wrath, help is on the way. I've spoken with governors across the nation, and shelters are being expanded. We are also working with the Red Cross, local charities, and volunteers who are stepping up in this time of need. I ask each and every one of you to look out for one another. This is the time when we need to come together as a community, as a nation. I also want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to the first responders, firefighters, police officers, EMTs, and volunteers who have risked their lives to save others. Your courage in the face of such overwhelming danger is a testament to the American spirit. You are heroes, every one of you. In the coming weeks, we will continue to assess the full extent of the damage. I am calling on Congress to expedite relief bills that will provide direct aid to those who have lost everything. We will also work with our international partners to offer assistance and relief as needed, as we are not alone in this disaster. As we move forward, let us remember the lives lost, the families forever changed, and the communities shattered. But also, let us remember our resolve. We are a nation built on resilience, on unity, on the belief that even in the face of tragedy, we can rebuild and emerge stronger. This will not be easy. The road ahead will be long, and it will be difficult. But I believe in the strength of the American people. Together, we will rebuild. Together, we will heal. Thank you, and may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.